Let's start right away with what are some important elements when creating a Catholic school retreat program at your school? What is important?
I think probably the three most important things, probably for any retreat, and I'm so glad you encouraged the elementary school, K through 8 parochial schools to stay tuned because they form the students that we receive, and it's just so important that you're looking at sometimes confirmation retreats or
Mhm.
here we have what are sixth grade retreats. Those are so fundamental, um, because when they're done right, the students, when they hear about retreats in high school, it will be something that's a positive. Oh, we're going on a retreat.
Right.
So thank you for continuing to pull in the educators at the K through 8 who are doing great work with students on retreat there. But I think that no matter what grade level or what demographics your student body is, you've got to start with scaffolding, preparation, and mentoring. I think those are
Okay.
the three most important things. Many years ago, what we did, having four grade levels, is, and you have to be unafraid if something isn't working to let it go. And that's true in anything.
Yes.
But what we did is we looked at all four grade levels and said, okay, what is the goal or the end product, or what are we working with the freshman retreat, with the sophomore retreat? And you want to scaffold them, but you don't want to repeat elements. That's super important, because the last thing you want is for students to be like, oh yeah, we did this last year.
Mhm.
Or for students on junior retreat going into a senior, like a modified kairos, to say, oh, well, it's going to look like this, or we're going to do that. So scaffolding them in such a way that, for recognizing, where am I going? Where did we go? Not to repeat and not to step on any toes as you move up and I don't mean move up, but as you move on in the grade level retreat.
Right, right.
We also, with the scaffolding idea, because we are in a school, would try and connect it to what was happening in the classroom as well in their theology and religious studies classes. So, where we have, say, a focus in social justice at a certain grade level, making sure you hit those elements on retreat, because then retreat can carry on in the classroom, because you've got a touch point going back and forth saying, oh, remember on retreat when we had this experience or we talked about that. And everybody, whether they were in a different group or a different, small group, or they can still have the same conversations in the classroom area.
Right.
So I think scaffolding is what you need to do. And you have to be unafraid to go into that, like we did, and say, okay, I'm doing this at this grade level. Is there a way you can do this? Or maybe I can change that. So that's super important, to look at the big picture.
Okay.
And then the preparation, I think, is looking at not only elements of time and talent and resources, but you want to create a meaningful experience. And so you also want to not just prepare, the facilitators who may be outside of, the religious studies department that will go on retreat, but also those peer mentors. At our
Mhm.
school, we do a peer mentoring system, of retreats, where our retreats are led by, seniors. We call them senior mentors. And so we want to make sure that we prepare them, in all ways possible. And then lastly, mentoring them and creating a space in which you can mentor them in a meaningful way, and not just, have a couple of meetings. Oh, we're going to do this and talk about that. But when I would work with and mentor many of the retreat leaders, it was taking time to almost mock the retreat, hear their talks, give meaningful feedback from both adult leaders and peer leaders, so that we can provide for those seeking or retreatants, whatever, we want to call the retreatants,
Right.
that they can get the most out of the experience. So I think any education, um, institution, looking at those three things, if you give the necessary time to do that, I think that you'll come out with what is meaningful for your student body.